Hi, my name is Jessica Sweat. I'm here today to tell you about a wonderful testimony about my son, Micah. A little bit about myself. I've been born and raised here, as well as my husband, Brandon Sweat, and we have two wonderful children, a little girl named Trinity, and she's 2.5 years old, as well as a little boy named Micah. And his story, he's here with me now, you can hear him talking. But his story is why I'm here today, to tell you just the wonderful impact the Lord had on his life. So he's 6 months currently. During gestation, at our 20-week scan, we went in thinking we were having, this wonderful baby who's healthy and happy. We had no concerns whatsoever up until that point. And once we reached the 20-week scan, we were told to speak to the doctor directly after that scan. Still no concern in my mind, thinking he was still healthy and fine. And the doctor came in, who was really concerned. She told me that he had something that they called bladder outlet obstruction, which is a complete blockage of his urine flow. His kidneys were dilated, his ureters were dilated, and his bladder was enlarged and dilated. And they were really concerned because the fluid around him was next to nothing. It was very low. So she used words like, "This is rare, and we don't see this. We've never seen this in our office before, and we need you to see somebody soon because it's very time sensitive. So we need to send you to a specialist." And my heart sunk. I felt like she was telling me this story about somebody else. I didn't feel like it was a real thing happening to my son. So of course I was frantic and asking her, is she sure? Is she sure? She confirmed it and she said, yes, I spoke to another doctor too before coming in because I didn't want to give you wrong advice, and we double checked everything, and this is something very serious that we need to get you looked at, and we need to get him looked at. So I left the office in tears, and she handed me a document that she Googled and told me basically what it is. And I left office and got a call shortly after that saying that I needed to go to Miami 2 days later to the Miami Fetal Institute. And I was going to be getting assessed there, another ultrasound, amniocentesis, and then possibly having intrauterine surgery for my son. And as I went home, I was praying. I got home, told my family, my close friends. I texted so many people to pray for this little boy, and I had my Bible study group women. I told them, could you pray for me and my son and pray for him? And they immediately sent out messages to all the other women asking them to pray. Of course, that day I felt, it was a Tuesday, and I felt, okay, he's going to be okay. The Lord's going to take care of him. He's going to be okay. And then researching everything about this obstruction, I realized how detrimental this is and how rare, and how he might not survive. He might not live after, even with any kind of surgery. I got scared. The next day was Wednesday, and we were going to be seeing the doctor on Thursday. Wednesday, the entire day, I was barely able to get up. I knew that I had to just keep praying, and my faith went from the day before so high to almost next to nothing on Wednesday. I just remember sitting on the couch thinking, I need you, Lord, and Micah needs you right now. And I just kept visualizing a mustard seed. That's the only thing I remember visualizing, because I knew if I just had that 1 ounce of faith in me, that the Lord was going to be there to lift me up and do the rest for me. So I just kept visualizing a mustard seed. And then I went to sleep that night, woke up the next morning with this complete 180. I had my strength and my faith was just like refueled. I woke up super early because we had to go to Miami that day, and my mom came over to watch my daughter, and I remember telling her, "Mom, I feel this glow around me. I feel warm and positive and happy, and I feel like in my peripheral I can just see, I can see this glow right around me, and I can't explain it, and I just knew the Lord was going to heal him, and I knew the Lord was taking care of him." And I went there so in such peace and such happiness. I went into the doctor's office looking for, I knew the Lord had healed him, but I had a female doctor that was there, who was introducing herself, doing the initial consult, and doing the ultrasound, and just really didn't speak anything. wasn't very enthusiastic or anything, but she was, just doing her job, going over the ultrasound with us, not saying what was going on, just doing the ultrasound, very standard. And then she brought in the actual professional doctor this is his institute, this is his specialty. People come from all over the world to see him and to get help with their babies during intrauterine surgery. So he came in because she was questioning what was going on. She had this curious look on her face, like she was confused. And she walked out of the office, brought him in, and asked him to do the rest of the ultrasound, and he did. And they were talking amongst each other, and I asked, I was like, "Is everything okay? Is he doing what's going on?" The doctor himself said, "Well, you don't need me. We don't see an obstruction. We see where there was an obstruction because the kidneys are dilated still. Not very much, but they are still dilated. The ureters are still a little dilated, and the bladder is completely empty. So the obstruction that was there whenever you had the ultrasound, it's gone. And so you don't need to see me here." And my heart just dropped, and I said, "Does that mean the obstruction just cleared?" And he said, "Well, it could mean that. It could mean the obstruction cleared on its own miraculously, or that the baby's kidneys have failed. And the only way we would know that is week by week. It's not going to happen overnight. It would be within 2 to 3 weeks, you getting ultrasounds and seeing how the baby's doing. If the fluid around the baby is good, week by week, then we know it's, the wonderful news that he's doing better." And I knew I didn't even have to hear the rest. I knew what the Lord had done, and I just blocked everything out. I look over my sister, because she went with me, and she's crying because of what she heard, and she is thinking, the opposite. She's thinking, "Oh, hopefully he's okay," and she's just broken. But I just knew, I'm like, this is what the Lord has done for him. Look at what we're witnessing right now. And then right behind the doctor, with a big smile on my face, the assistant, she started talking to me and saying, if this is what it is, he's going to have, really bad issues with his kidneys, and he might need, a lot of help. And I said, "Well, if worst case scenario, he is having problems with his kidneys, he is going to get on dialysis and then have a kidney transplant." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And she said, "Well, that's going to be a very hard life to live. Can you imagine putting your son through this?" And I just told her, to me, it didn't matter. In my mind, it doesn't matter to her, but she voiced her opinion about that. And then after the doctor had left, she again sat us down and said, "Look, you have the choice now. You're 21 weeks, so you have 3 more weeks to decide whether you want to abort. I know this is a hard decision, but sometimes parents who have a child who may be suffering, they want to help them, ease the suffering, and they don't want to put them through it. You have 3 weeks to decide, because in state law, you have up until 24 weeks to abort." And she was telling us all of this, and meanwhile, I'm just smiling, because I know right then and there when she said that, I just knew what miracle the Lord has performed. The Satan is just trying to do with it away. And I just told her nicely, thank you, but we're going to go home now. We don't need any further testing, no amniocentesis, no anything. Just, we're going to go home. And that's what we did. So now, fast forward, we've seen he's been healthy, had a wonderful, natural, unmedicated delivery, and it was such a wonderful experience. He was a healthy baby, full term. He is doing wonderful, and we've seen kidney specialists since then. So yes, we had the third doctor we went to see, a kidney specialist that he's currently seeing, had told us, I had went through every single doctor. I've asked him if they've seen something like this before, and how he's had a bladder obstruction, a clear bladder obstruction, and it just miraculously dissolved and went away. And this doctor is the kidneys expert, and he said he was confused by my question. I said, yeah, have you seen anything that obstruction that is just cleared up on its own like that? And he said, well, I've seen valves, children with posterior urethral valves. And I said, no, like a obstruction like Micah had, and that just vanished. And he just kind of looked down and said, well, what did they tell you at the Fetal Institute? Did they say they were going to, put a shunt in and do intrauterine surgery? And I said, yeah, we thought that he was going to be okay by, relieving some pressure. Maybe he would have kidney failure. He would have kidney issues and kidney failure and possibly need a kidney transplant. But he said that's something that usually doesn't always work. It's such a rare disorder, and even on top of it, it's such a rare thing for babies to even survive that. And even with intrauterine surgery, survival wasn't likely. So he was just confirming that we thought we maybe would have a struggling child, but he told us, you wouldn't have even had a child made it, who would make it that way. Even with kidney failure, he would not have made it even through the gestation. So we were just, even to this day, we just realize how wonderful, what a wonderful miracle the Lord has given Micah. And we just wanted to continue sharing that testimony with everybody, because it's something that I think about every single day, and I can't move past, and I can't move forward from just this, seeing my son, with this amazing gift that he's given Micah, a gift of life. And I'm so glad I was able to share this with the rest of the church and with many other people. So thank you for listening.